Hello nieces, hello nephews, it's your Uncle Charles here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we do unbiased price action analysis. Looks like the Santa Claus rally is continuing, guys, on low volume. You see the low volume right here, guys, and yet the market continues to creep on higher. Today closing at 476.5. Yeah, I had that 475.5 level. We did have an intraday false breakdown, as you can see right there on that 11:30 candle. It wasn't a strong move to the upside though, so I don't know if you guys traded SPY today and found it worth trading, but I tell you this, overall it's still looking bullish, guys, and we're still getting new 52-week closes. New 52-week closes. As a matter of fact, it's a new 52-week high today. So, yeah, it looks like the Santa Claus rally is coming in on schedule and is continuing. Last week of the year, low volume. Most of the big money players are probably still on vacation. And you know, yesterday I talked to you guys about the question that sheeps need to ask themselves every day before they trade. That question is, who was the last to get trapped? Was it bulls or was it bears? And we can see here back on December 20th, we had that breakdown of my rising wedge. It looked like it was a false breakout setup, but then that false breakout was canceled when we recaptured it the next day. The trend is your friend, and trading with the traps can add to your probability of winning. And look at that false breakdown setup while the trend is bullish, and it's working out. And when did it happen? December 21st. That's usually, towards the end of December on average, is usually when the Santa Claus rally starts, and it usually ends like the first couple of days of January. All right, it's usually not much of a move up, but it still looked like it wants to go up higher. And remember, November 2021, all-time high back in, was that 479.98? That's definitely still a target, guys. It's definitely still a target. On average, January is bearish, so we'll see if that plays out this year. Last year, it did not play out. But on average, it does. So we'll see if this low-volume melt-up will lead to a top possibly in January. We'll see what happens, but the best thing I can tell you guys is that it's bullish. If we clear 476.5 tomorrow, we're likely going to test 478.5 in an all-time high. Okay, 478.5 is a fib level that I got from July high down to October low. 478.63 is actually the number. And that's a Fibonacci extension level that I'll be targeting right before all-time highs. And like I said, those two levels are possible right now as long as SPY continues to break out resistant levels. I mentioned that 475.5 level needs to clear. Today, it did. Now, if it clears up 476.5, 477 zone, we're likely heading up higher. Okay? Now, when do we call a top? We call tops when we get false breakout setups. Well, we don't want to call a top, but when is it reasonable to call a top? When we get false breakout setups, exhaustion gaps, all that happy stuff. There's multiple things to look at, and none of those multiple things are happening right now. But if it was, and if we want to switch back to bearish, we need to break back down support levels, 475 right now. I had it at 475.5, but I'm gonna switch the level, readjust the level down to 475. The reason I'm switching to 475 is you guys see all these wicks right around that 475 zone. There was buying pressure there. So even though it wasn't originally one of my number, I have to adjust and add that. Okay, so I'm not looking at 475.5 anymore. I'll be looking at 475. If that level fails, 473.3 is a possibility, as well as my rising wedge, which is now at 472.5. That's what's keeping me bullish on SPY right now. and not favoring a pullback. Of course, we can get some micro pullbacks here and there, but if we're talking about a bigger pullback, 472.5 needs to drop, fail at support so we can get a drop, false breakout setup based on the rising wedge. And in case you guys don't know what rising wedge I'm talking about, I'm talking about this one. Let me go to a weekly chart. That rising wedge, okay? You guys see we broke out last week, and it's SPY's trying to show follow through on the weekly chart. Still got a couple more days before we can really take that more serious. Okay, so we got the bull case, 476.5 clear. Guys, we're likely heading up to an all-time high, back to all-time highs. And for me to get bearish, we got to break down some support, especially 472.5. Break back below the rising wedge, and then maybe I will favor some type of pullback. Okay? Triple Q, it's still creeping up. It actually cleared my 1.5 Fibonacci extension level at 410.8. As long as above, we're going to keep getting new all-time highs, because we're, new all-time highs today. We're going to get bearish. 410.8, 408.7 needs to fail to put 405.4 and lower targets in play. Maybe down to 403. Okay, guys. IWM, I mentioned yesterday, to stay bullish above 203. We could switch back to bearish below 203. That's my equilibrium level. It's still above 203. And today it went around 205.5. So tomorrow 205.5 clears, 207.5 is in play. I can't get bearish unless 203 breaks back down. And if it does, that's when I'll get bearish. Okay, guys? Tesla. 15-minute chart of Tesla. I had a nice trade setup with Tesla, guys. Very nice trade setup with Tesla. I was bouncing at that 258 level that I had, 259.5. I mentioned in the group. To be bullish, Tesla needs to clear 258 and 259.5. Wow, it worked out beautifully. We go to daily chart, though. Got very close to testing the top of that rising wedge. Guys, see that rising wedge? Very close. So, yeah. If it can stay above 261 and clear 263, we are likely heading to the top of that wedge. Top of that wedge for tomorrow's at 266. Very possibility, okay? Not to mention, we also cleared a Fibonacci level, which was at 259.43. I can't get bearish unless that level breaks back down. False breakout setup if it does, and that's when I will get bearish and favor some lower targets. Otherwise, I'm overall bullish above 259.4 and favor a test of the rising wedge at 266. Okay, guys? Here's NVDA. It cleared 492.66 yesterday. That's 50% fib level. Today, it was really tricky. It gave us a nice bounce and it back tested it, dropped low intraday, but at the end of the day, recaptured it, still managing to defend that breakout. As long as above 492.6, I am bullish on NVDA, and I will only switch back to bearish if that level fails. Possibly put in 490 or lower back in play, okay? Otherwise, if 495.4 clears tomorrow, 497 and 493 plus are all back in play, okay? Apple, I've been bearish on Apple since we broke down 196, broke back below the the megaphone pattern. Aged well, but look where we bounced at the 78.6 fib level around 191-ish. Okay? So am I still bearish? Well, based on that bounce, I think I'm going to switch over to neutral because that doesn't look bearish right there. Okay? I would be bearish if we break below 191.2. Okay? If that level fails, I would favor the sell-off continues. Otherwise, this bounce could lead to something. Okay? And if for it to be a higher low, it'll have to clear 193 and 194.5. Those levels clear look too long at 196 and 198 and 200 back in play, okay? Amazon just chopping, all right? I can't get bearish unless 152.3 fails. And I can't get bullish unless we clear 154.5 to 155 zone. Got to clear 155. And then maybe I'll favor some upside up to 156.3, maybe up to 159-ish. All right? Bearish, it got to drop below 152.3 to put lower targets in play. 150.5, maybe back down to 147.6s, okay? AMD, I mentioned that we are bullish as long as above 140 or 142. We got that breakout and led to more upside going as high as 146.25. 148 is still a target. If it can clear 146.25 tomorrow, if it can clear its own high from today, tomorrow, 148 incoming. I can't get bearish unless we break back below 140 and 142 and 140. Okay, guys, we had that. Remember, trend phase, chop phase. Broke out the chop, likely heading back in the trend phase. Okay, but I tell you this: if you're gonna try to call a top, which I don't recommend you to do it, at least wait for the right circumstance, which is a false breakout setup or an exhaustion gap to the downside. All right, Meta ran right into my 1.618 fib level, which is at 358.2ish. If that can clear tomorrow, more upside incoming. Okay, support is at 355. If that level fails, 352 is back in play. 352 is my 1.5 Fibonacci extension level. If that level fails, we are bearish, at least for the short term, and I will favor a pullback down to 346 for Meta. Okay, otherwise 358.2 clears. We're going to head up higher. Netflix. Not much going on, but it did manage to recapture the 1.236 fib level at 491.5. Because of that, I would be bullish as long as above 491.5 and favor a test back up to the upside, maybe to 495.5 and 497-ish, okay? Only way I would turn back to bearish at this point, based on this context, is if we drop back below 491.5 to put 490 or lower targets back in play, okay? And here's Microsoft just chopping around, consolidating. Yeah, for tomorrow, if it really wants to bounce here, I'll trust the bounce more if it clears 375 and 377 to put 380 or higher in play. If it wants to drop, I need to see it drop below 372.8 to put 370 or lower in play, okay? And yeah, I think that's it. I need to show you guys the Darkpool orders. Let me get on the Darkpool order here. Okay, so 475.5. That's funny because that's one of my levels that I've been watching. And it came in at 4.6 billion in premium. Holy moly. That's one of Uncle Charles' level. And that's a Darkpool level as well. So 475 to 475.5 zone, guys. That's definitely a critical level. Bullish above it, bearish below it. Keep it simple. Here's the option flow. Filter for 100K premiums or above. And it's still bullish, guys. Higher volume in puts, but more money is going into calls. Bullish. QQQ is bullish. IWM is bearish. Higher volume and more money is going into puts for IWM. Worth noting. Apple, bullish. Amazon is bullish. Tesla is bullish. NVDA is bullish. AMD is bullish. Meta is bullish. Here is Netflix is bullish. And Microsoft. Uh-oh. It's not loading. Wow, it messes up me right when I try to get to Microsoft, guys. You see what I got to deal with when it comes to Cheddar Flow. Still a good service, but damn. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys for showing up. And hope you guys found value in the video. I'm going to let the great Leon sing you out. Peace.
Would you take the wheel if I lose control? I'm still lying here. We're talking to take me home. We're talking to